Okay, Happy New Year. Happy 2023. Welcome to you all, my magical family. Thank you so much for coming. We are going to have a wonderful time and we're going to do some very important work. So I hope you are ready. Most of you know me in some capacity. My name is Anna Bellissima. I'm an extremely powerful magician, as of course are you. I am also a marketing dominatrix and now a certificated shadow coach, a Jungian coach. And I teach business owners how to make more money by doing their marketing more effectively. So my work is all about combining very simple, practical, step-by-step, mundane tasks. Marketing is really not very difficult. The principles of marketing are not difficult. So we combine that with the magical tasks and the personal development practices that actually, for me and for most of my clients, make everything else possible. And today we are talking about demand, how to generate demand, how to be in demand. And this is really the difference in mindsets, I think that is required, the difference in mindset that's required to going from, say, maybe 20 to 30K a year to six figures. Now, why are so many people hung up on six figures? It sounds like a lot, and it is a huge amount of money by global standards. Anybody making six figures by anybody's reckoning is doing incredibly well. It is such an important milestone because remember that when I and other business coaches are talking about six figures, we are talking about gross revenue, right? We're talking about all of the money coming into your business. And at this level, you will certainly be setting aside 20% of everything that comes in for your taxes. And you should probably, I would recommend setting aside probably 30% for the costs associated with doing business. So that would be for your coaching and ongoing mentoring. That would cover your web hosting and other tech costs. And of course, as you grow, you will also be investing in support for yourself. So you might be paying an online business manager or a VA or for help with your marketing. So in fact, 100K per year actually breaks down to a take home of about £4,000 a month, which is a lovely, it's a nice amount of money, very useful, and enough for most families to consistently meet their needs, and not a huge amount more than that, which is why I want you all to be setting your sights on achieving that 100K per year as soon as you can. 100K per year sounds like a huge amount, but actually it works out to a take home of about 4K per month, which is not a huge amount. It's a nice amount. It may be a comfortable amount, but it's not a huge amount. And the thing about 100K as well is that it is incredibly difficult to get there unless you have found the demand in your audience, unless you have found a niche where there is a real demand for your work. So, as I said in my emails and my social posts and my invites to this class, this is not the most relevant information for you if you are just starting out. If you are making less than, say, 30K a year, there are some other foundational elements, practical and magical mindsets that are going to be more important for you. Like, for example, not taking it personally when a client doesn't re-enroll with you or when you get a rejection, like growing your audience, like coming to believe that you have the stones to do what it takes to build a business. So getting proof of concept, not so much for your business, for the work you do, but for you. So for example, you could be a book coach, for example. And you could believe that there is demand for book coaching and that other people can make it a success as a book coach, but you have to believe that it's possible for you. And in my experience, that shift happens at around 30K a year by which time you have served enough clients to come to be able to hold the belief that you are able to build a business. So once you've reached that milestone, and it's a process, right? So we're all going to have doubts, and we're all going to like have setbacks and have like wobbly moments of like, what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing here. Who was I to ever think I could be in business? But once you've achieved a certain milestone and you have a business, you are serving clients somewhat consistently, and you are starting to understand your offer, your audience, your marketing, and how to put them together to make money, then this one concept about creating demand is going to be so incredibly important in helping you scale. So if you are just starting out, I don't want you to log off and go away. This is going to be useful for you as well. There's literally nobody that this isn't going to benefit, but I just want you to pay really, really close attention and make a lot of notes if you are at that point where you are ready to scale. So finding demand in your audience is such an important concept. So demand, what are we talking about? In the most simple terms, and I'm sure you can all understand this, if there is no demand for your work, nobody is going to buy. If you are selling shit on a stick, nobody's going to buy that. Nobody wants it. Okay. However, if you are there at the 20 or 30K mark, you have proof of concept, you know that there is some demand for your work, but you might still feel like it's hard going and that you're having to do a lot of work to make consistent sales. So let me know in the chat, like on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being like shit on a stick and 10 being, oh my God, people are knocking down my door to get my work. Where do you feel like the demand for your work is with your current audience, not your audience that you want to get, not the audience that are coming to you in 2023, but your audience now? Where do you pitch the level of demand in your audience? Just let me know in the chat. Nectaria 8. That's good. That's a lot of demand. Lakeisha 3, Naomi 3, Lashonda 5. Okay, Jill 2. Okay. I saw a 0 there. Brandy 0. We're going to do something about that, okay? Dale 8, and I still can't take their money. I love it. Thank you for your honesty. Megan 3, Natalie 5 or 6. Okay, so we've got a real range from, I think 8 was the highest for Nectaria, 0, and I'm really glad that nobody's put 7, because 7 is just like the cop-out number here. So the more demand there is for your work, the easier it is to create consistent sales. You can imagine that, right? You can see that if you are working in a niche and you have an audience who are avid for your work, Nectaria, I don't know if you're still doing this, but Nectaria is a menopause fitness coach. Excuse me, let me just turn off that alarm. And there's a lot of demand for your work. So if there's the more demand there is for your work, the easier it is to create consistent sales, or it should be. Of course, we get in our own way a lot, but let's imagine it like this. Let's imagine demand like this. If your work is so in demand, I would like you to imagine yourself as the owner of a small, cute little boutique shop, a cute little boutique store in the middle of a lovely village, and the people are lining up. They are lining up down the street and out of the village and along the lanes and over the hills to come in and spend their money with you. So anytime you want to make a sale, anytime you need money, all you need to do is open the door and let in however many customers you want to work with. Okay, so you could open the door and let in 1 high ticket client, or you could open the door and let in 20 lower ticket clients. Okay, is this making sense? We understand what demand is. So when there's demand for your work, you can make money consistently without having to work any harder. When there is demand for your work, you don't have to work harder to make more money. You just have to figure out how to serve more people more effectively and more quickly, how to get them in the door more quickly and serve them more effectively. Okay, so you all know, well, those of you who have worked with me, in any capacity all know that I am all about the practical actions all day, all day. I give advice on the practical steps that you can take to market your business every single day. And I am 100% not one of these coaches who will tell you that you can journal and self-pleasure your way to six figures. It doesn't work like that. You will need to do work. You will need to take bold actions. You will need to take massive actions. But I promise you that it doesn't take any longer. It doesn't demand any more of you to make massive moves, to make big, bold moves, than it does to do what you are already doing. Does that make sense? So when I'm talking to you today is how you can create demand, create consistent income from the demand that already exists in your audience, but not by working harder. Okay, so I want to say that bit again, because it's important. There is a lot of work to be done. There is work to be done. And in order to do it and to do it effectively, there are some thoughts and beliefs that you will need to adopt and effectively train your brain to think regularly. Okay, I'm saying it again, a third time. There is a lot of work to be done. And in order to do it and do it effectively, you are going to have to train your brain to regularly think specific thoughts until they effectively become beliefs. Okay. I am going to give you some of the practical methods that copywriters and marketers use to create demand. So as a professional copywriter, I know how to create demand for a product or service that isn't mine. But when you are the sole trader, when you are a solo entrepreneur, none of those tricks are going to be possible for you unless you can adopt that particular mindset. And this is particularly important for my people, you gorgeous lot, the magical people, the intuitive people, the empathic people, because we make decisions based on how we feel, right? So if somebody asks us to undertake some marketing tactics that feel manipulative or feel icky, we just literally can't do them. Like, we will be paralyzed rather than be able to make those particular tactics work for our business. Okay, let me know if that sounds like you. Let me know if you've ever just been unable to take the advice of a business coach, maybe a freebie you got, whoever it is, haven't been able to do it because it feels so gross and dishonest and manipulative inside you. And that's why it's so important for us, and by us, I mean the magical, spiritual, intuitive folks, for us to do the mindset work. Because if we aren't embodying the beliefs that make the marketing possible, we just don't do the marketing, and we do like a million other things instead. Okay. So what I'm teaching you today is 100% not about working more. And it was 100% not about mindset and beliefs. You need both. You have to have both things going on concurrently. Because when you're in demand, when your work is in demand, you don't have to work more than is necessary. Think about this. If you knew how in demand your work was, how many hours would you work a day? How many clients would you serve at any time? If you knew without a shadow of a doubt that there were people queued up outside your store, going down the street and down the lane and out of the village and over the hill, they were queuing up to work with you, can't wait to give you their money, how would you feel about how many hours you work a day? Okay. So there's no need to think that there's no need to subscribe to any belief that this is going to require like huge amounts of like overwork, or that you can risk burning yourself out. So yes, you will be taking massive action once you embody these beliefs. But a few bold actions actually create massive results. Your work will be more purposeful. Your work will be more valuable. And even So your work will be more purposeful and more valuable in terms of creating new clients in your business, but you'll even find that your work becomes more valuable and impactful for your clients. Okay, so when your work is in demand, there is no need for hoping, for wishing. There is no need for overthinking decisions, strategic decisions. It is just much easier to do, to do what you need to do. And it allows you to get work done that has high value and makes money. That's what we want to do. We want to get work done, create momentum, get it done, and that the work has high value and it makes you money. So when you're in demand, I want to tell you how you can recognize when you're in demand and operating from that place. When you are in demand, you are creating at a high level. And when you know that you are in demand, you're giving yourself better problems to solve. It's not that the problems go away. It's just that you have better problems to look at, right? So instead of thinking about how can I do this all by myself? How can I create enough content? How am I going to get people in? Instead of those kind of problems, you're problem solving for who do I need to hire? Who do I need to hire to support me? Or instead of how can I get people to buy, you are thinking about how can we serve a lot of people quickly and effectively? How can I effectively serve all these extra people? Instead of thinking, I don't know what to post in order to attract people, you are thinking, I just have too many brilliant ideas and I don't know what to do with them all. Okay. When you have demand for your work, when you have identified and located and tapped into the demand for your work, selling actually feels amazing because it is easy. You want to sell, whether that is doing sales calls or promoting offers like I'm doing today. You want to spend your time doing it because it is a really good, fun, and highly profitable way to spend your time. It's easy. It's profitable. It's fun. You're literally just ushering people into this great party that you're having. When you're in demand, launching a new offer is not something that you dread. It is something that is fun and exciting. And what happens is that the work that you do is so nurturing that you don't require that rest and recovery period after a promotion or a launch. It's just like a regular day at work. It's not depleting. And in fact, the reverse, it generates energy and inspiration and business. You need rest when you are pushing yourself, forcing yourself to do things that are depleting because you believe it is difficult and you believe it's likely to have a disappointing outcome, or at least it's going to be very, very hard work. Whereas when you're in demand, there's no need to work yourself into the ground. You can work 3 days a week if you want. You can take breaks. You can work 3 hours a day. You can spend time with your family. You can hang out with your friends. You can pursue your hobbies. You want to sell all the time. You want to sell all the time. You don't need to recover. Of course, you can schedule vacations. You can schedule holidays. You can schedule time off. Of course you can, and you will, and you should. But what I'm trying to say is that you are not like a cup that gets depleted from the work of selling your offers, and that then needs to be refilled with rest. It stays full. It is self-replenishing. Promoting your work gives you energy. So the central belief that I want us to get to today, or if not today, then over the next week, the central belief that I want you to try and adopt is this: when I sell, I make sales. That's really simple. How many of you already believe that? When I sell, I make sales. When I do what I know to do to promote my offer, I make money. It always happens, every single time. So if you believe that, if you can get to that place where you believe that when you sell, you make sales, then when you get those rejections, They're going to come. That's like just a natural part of business. It doesn't mean anything. But when you get those rejections, it's water off a duck's back. When you know you're in demand, when you know that when you sell, you make sales, it means that if this person right in front of you right now doesn't want to work with you, it's no big deal. The next person you speak to will want to. And if it's not them, it'll be the third person. It's just not a big deal. Like, how would you show up differently if you knew there were 6 people lined up to take sales calls with you? And let me tell you this is true. People don't book sales calls with you unless they want to work with you. Nobody is booking a sales call planning to reject you, planning to say no. They don't book a call unless they are pretty sure that they want to work with you and they just want to like dot some I's and cross some T's. Where they back away and where the sale doesn't happen, like, you know, sometimes it will just be a bad fit. We're going to come to that in a bit. But often it's just because you've been acting really weird and being like, it's got to be this person. This person has to be, they have to sign up because I need the money, because there's no demand. So this is the one person. I have to convert this one into a sale. So here it is. Here's the thought that I want you to think on purpose. Actually, there's a few of them, and I want you to write down some of your own as well. So write these down. I am in demand. I am in so much demand. My work is in demand. There is so much demand for my work. People cannot wait to pay me. And even as you write these down, I want you to observe how quick your brain is to go, yeah, there's no demand. Nobody wants to pay you. Just observe how quickly your brain is to come up, how quick your brain is to come up with the reasons that is wrong. Okay. So creating demand in your business, as with all things, and if you're magical people, you understand this already. We can only create demand in our business the wrong way round. Okay. So think of the law of attraction. I know. Think about manifesting abundance. Think about manifesting relationships. Think about manifesting a free cup of coffee. Like the only way that you can manifest it is by getting into that space of complete belief and surrender that you already have it. And demand works the same way. It's acting as if you were already in demand, believing that you are in demand. You cannot create demand by believing that there is no demand for your work. You can only create demand by deliberately and consciously and daily and consistently choosing to believe that you are in demand. Okay, I'm going to say that one again as well. You cannot create demand by believing that there is no demand for your work. You create demand by deliberately and consciously and consistently choosing to believe that you are already in demand. So when you choose, whether you choose to believe you are or are not in demand, all beliefs are choices. Whichever you choose is going to affect how you invite people to work with you. It's going to affect how you talk about your work. It's going to affect the copy that you write to promote your work. It's going to affect how you deliver your work. It's going to affect how you feel about your work on a daily basis, how much energy and commitment you put into it. Let me know in the chat. You've all gone very quiet, and I hope that means that you're just like having your minds blown and taking it in. But let me know in the chat if this is making sense to you. Do you see how you cannot create demand by believing there is no demand for your work? And that we create demand by believing that we are in demand. And let me know how true this is for you. Let me know in the chat. When I don't believe I am in demand, complete the sentence. When I don't believe I am in demand, how do I behave? How do I act? How do I respond to that belief? When I believe there is no demand for my work, how do I spend my days? Let me know. I abandoned my business. Yeah. when I personally don't believe there is demand for my work, I spend like hours on, phone games, Sudoku, hours on Sudoku, right? Exactly. I feel desperate. I feel defeated. I feel distracted. Yes, exactly. I procrastinate. Exactly. Tina, it's interesting that I resist. I am in demand versus there is so much work for my demand for my work and how I do it. That is really interesting. Go with whatever works for you. I am in demand works for me. Go with whatever works for you. But a bit later on, we're going to talk about the shadow aspect and how, for most of us, there is a very large and real part of us that does not want to be in demand at all. No, thank you. Demand feels like heavy. It feels like obligation. It feels like, oh, I went into business to be master of my own time. I do not need additional demands being placed on me. So we're going to look at that. Don't worry, we're going to come to that. I feel that I have a blockage to it. You have a blockage to being in demand, Naomi. Write some more for me there. Oh, these comments are so good. Robin says, oh, Dale says, I'm always in demand. People just don't always want to pay me. We're going to talk about that as well. Because what I want you to, the thought I want you to choose, if I can expand on it a little bit, is that there is demand for my work in the audience that I have right now, and for the offers that I have right now, and at whatever price point I choose. Yeah, nothing has to change about my business in order for there to be demand for my work. The demand is there. If you have an audience, so again, this is more relevant for people who have an established business than for people who are just starting out. But if you have an audience of any size, if you have an audience of 200 people, I'm willing to bet that there is demand, that there are people in your audience right now who will pay you whatever you choose to charge for your offers, whatever you've already decided on. Yeah. And that can be, you might have created an offer for the audience. Like sometimes we create an offer for the audience that we wish we had. And sometimes we create an offer for the audience that we're kind of lumbered with. Like, even if they're not our ideal clients, we'll just create an offer because we think we can sell it. But I'm encouraging you to believe that there is demand for your business. There is demand for your work as it is right now, today, not tomorrow, not with a different audience, not with a different offer, this audience, this price point today. I'm missing some of these comments. I can see it. And I'll come back to these. And if I don't answer everything on the call today, then we can continue this conversation in the Facebook group. Yes, Natalie said, when I believe I'm not in demand, I don't listen to or consider any good marketing ideas, right? Because it all just seems, I can relate to that. It just seems futile. It's like, why would I spend my money and my time and my effort on that when it's always so difficult to make sales? Why would you? Brandy says, yes, I'm afraid that being in demand will add more to my already busy schedule. And all I want is time freedom. It feels like I'm moving backwards. That is a really awareness is your friend here. Awareness is your friend. You've just identified here that you don't want to be in demand. You don't want your work to be in demand. And as I say, we're going to be talking about that later. Bianca says, Brandy, you determine your schedule though. Make it plain and hold firm boundaries. That is going to come up. When you are in demand, it's true. When you are in demand, you are going to get more difficult clients. You are going to get people who want a piece of you, who want your time, who want your energy, who want more from you than what you have contractually agreed to exchange with them. And that means you are going to have to set boundaries in place. And that's never comfortable. Nobody likes, enjoys when situations come up which are like, okay, I need to place a boundary here. That's always uncomfortable. But if you're like, I can't handle being in demand because I can't handle setting boundaries, then guess what? You're not going to be in demand and you are going to find it difficult to sell. Okay. So I think we are all understanding that this is true for you, that when you believe you are in demand, whether you believe you are in demand or whether you believe you are not, it is going to impact on how you spend your hours, your days, your weeks at work. Okay, so how many times a day and how many ways can you choose the thought that your work is in demand? Excuse me. So as I said already, my favorite is, how did I get to be so in demand? How did I create so much demand for my work? And I want you to practice having this thought so much that it becomes habitual. Now, like changing any habitual mindset, it feels awkward and what does it feel? It just feels awkward and insincere and like ridiculous at first. It's like, why am I even saying this? This is so untrue. There is no demand for my work, but you just keep thinking it anyway. So I put reminders on my phone. I have reminders going off on my phone all the time saying, there is so much demand for my work. Magical people can't wait to pay me. Put visual reminders up, put post-it notes up. I want everybody on this call right now to type in the chat that you commit to this practice for 3 days. Let's give it 3 days. 3 days. I commit for 3 days to deliberately believing that there is so much demand for my work. And then I am going to follow up with every last one of you and find out how it changes your work. We might even set up an office hours call where we can come back and talk about this. I want you to just experiment with what changes with how you spend your time. It will have other repercussions as well, but the most immediate one, the one that you will be able to observe most directly, is how you spend your time if you believe that your work is in demand. 3 days. Let's have it. I commit, I commit, I commit. Yes, yes, yes. It just makes everything you have to do much easier. It means you can spend 20 minutes writing an email instead of spending like 4 hours procrastinating on it and 2 hours writing it, okay? It makes getting on calls easier. It makes making videos easier. It makes like if you believe that you were like your work was so in demand, how would you show up on video? What would you say if you believed that there was nothing you could do to turn off clients, right? All that's going to happen is the people who are never going to work with you will go away, but the people who are going to work with you are going to come even closer. Like, what would you do if you believed you were in demand and you don't have to convince anybody? So as I've said, it affects how you invite people to work with you. It affects the work that you do with your actual clients. It affects how much energy you get from your business. Rather than putting energy into your business, you get energy from your business. And money is just a different form of energy. So of course, it affects how much money you get from your business. Okay. There is demand for your offer or service. I want you to remind yourself of this. However it takes for the next 3 days, there is demand for my service. There is demand that exists right now. I do not need to create demand. I am already in demand. Okay? Whatever you need to do to trick yourself into believing that is going to be like the most valuable investment in your business that you can make. When you truly believe you are in demand, creativity, inspiration, action, courage, it just pours out of you, right? How would you feel about selling? Like, for those of you who don't like doing sales calls, I didn't do sales calls for the longest time because I felt like I was trying to convince people all the time on calls. It felt so awkward. Hello, autism. I was socially like cringing. It was horrible. I didn't do sales calls for the longest time. Now that I truly believe that there are like so many people who want to buy from me, it's completely changed. I've stopped following the structure of like those bogus sales calls of like first create rapport and then lean on the pain point and blah, 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 blah. I just can lay it out really plainly, really neatly, and have the belief that people love to pay me. They can't wait to pay me. And when I can embody that belief, I can show up in a way that is playful and confident. And so it just becomes self-fulfilling. We all know this, yes? Please let me know. We all know this. We all know this, that the thoughts and beliefs that we habitually allow space in our brain become self-fulfilling, and demand is no different. Sales and promotions and launching only feels awful when we're telling ourselves that there's no demand. Of course it feels awful if there's no demand. Of course it does. Like, who wants to try and sell to somebody who doesn't want to work with us? I don't. Who wants to try and who wants to promote a program if you believe that nobody wants it? I certainly don't. If you believe that people really, really want it and can trick yourself into believing that people really, really want it, then guess what? We start to find evidence for that reality. We start to find evidence for that being true. So we're going to do some like little journaling prompts. I need a sip of water. I'm doing a lot of talking. So let me know as you allow these thoughts and ideas to percolate in your brain, even if you find that you don't really truly believe them just yet. What do you feel expanding when you imagine an audience, that your audience right now, the audience that you have right now, that there are people in it, significant numbers of people in it, who just can't wait to pay you? What do you feel expanding? How do you think that might change how you show up for your marketing and your sales tomorrow if you believe there is already demand for your work? The demand isn't something you have to create. You don't have to change anything. There is already demand for the exact offers that you have right now and at the exact price points that you are selling them at. How is that going to change how you show up in your business tomorrow or even today? So have a think about these things. Let's do some journaling just for a few minutes. I'm going to put some questions for you to journal on in the chat here. Just let me copy and paste them from my notes. Oh, I wonder if these are going to... Okay, how much money do you want to make next month? How much money do you want to make this month? How much money do you want to make in January? And how much time do you want to spend delivering that work? How do you want to make it? And how many clients would you need? Are they going to be signing up at their current rate or at a higher rate? Do you actually want to run the programs that you are currently promoting? Do you have a program that would feel really exciting to run if you knew that there was a lot of demand, or would you change your program? If you knew that there was that there was huge demand for your work, would your offers be the same as what they are right now, or would you change them? I mentioned this one before. Are your offers set up for the clients that you really want to work with? Or are they set up for the clients you think you can get? Oh, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. The questions are there in the chat. And then I would love, love, love it if you would just give me just a couple of reflections on what we've spoken about so far. So you could say, when I believe I am in demand, I will take on 2 more one-to-one clients, but it will be at double my current rate. And I would adapt my current group program and run it for 8 clients. So if you believe you are in demand, you'll just do that, right? You won't be thinking, oh, but nobody will pay me, or, oh, but how am I going to find those 8 clients? You'll just do it. You'll say, okay, I need to make 10K this month. So let's do 2 clients at 3K each, and then 3 clients at £400 in the group, and that will make us up to 8K, and that's me on track for 100K a year. Okay? So just work out what you would do, what you will do, now that you understand just how in demand you are. You'll just do it. When you're stuck in this place of believing there's no demand, or that demand is something that you have to create, that you have to convince people to want your work, when you're believing you have to convince people to want your work, there's no excitement and there's no motivation. It's just like a slog. It's like, oh God, do I have to? I don't want to. I don't want to convince people to want to work with me. That doesn't sound fun at all. So I tell you what, rather than putting your reflections in the chat box, what I would love to hear is, what are the things your brain is telling you about why you can't do this? About why, oh, well, this is okay for Anna. She's confident. She's marketing. I don't know, whatever it is you say. What are the things that your brain is telling you? The reasons your brain is so kindly and helpfully giving you about why this is not possible for you. Yes, lack of marketing and copy experience. Very good. I am not confident enough. Other people are more confident than me. Excellent. Yes. I want you to notice that your brain is going to keep offering you thoughts about why you can't do this. Minty, yes, my audience is too small. Perfect. Beautiful. Your brain will keep coming up with drama about why you can't do this, about why you can't believe in demand. That's its job. That's your brain's job. It's literally its job. It's doing what it's supposed to do. And you are the boss. You are the boss of you. You don't have to believe everything you think. You definitely should not believe everything you think. And you can keep coming back to this question. What do I do when I believe I am in demand? Okay, so Cindy says it's a lack of marketing and copy experience. What if you could believe, I mean, if you truly believe that you're in demand, then your audience don't care about your lack of marketing and copy experience. Your audience love you because of your lack of marketing and copy experience. Because that's a mirror for their, like, do you believe there are people in your audience who also lack marketing and copy experience? And would you be able to model for them how you can build a business without marketing and copy experience? Sam is talking about confidence. Other people are more confident than me. Yes, definitely. There are always going to be people who are more confident than you. And you can be in demand even though you are not confident. People still want to work with you, whether you're confident or not. And maybe, just maybe, there are some people in your audience who also feel a lack of confidence, who would get so much value from you modeling for them what is possible even if you are not feeling the most confident. Okay. Minty says not enough audience. So I'm going to come back to what I said right at the beginning. If you are just starting out, there are some elements that are a higher priority than this when you are just starting out, which include like getting your messaging straight, growing your audience. What was the other one? Starting to understand your messaging and how your offer, your message, and your audience like work together to make money. So you need an audience, but the audience is probably very, very small. You can make money from an audience of 100, 200, and your audience will grow as you continue to believe that you are in demand, because when you are in demand, you show up playfully, you show up confidently, and your audience grows because that energy is magnetic and it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your work, you generate more demand by acting as though you are already in demand, okay? So here's some more questions to think about. Are you ready to open the doors all the way open? Or do you want to just let in a few people right now, and then a few more, and then a few more? So when you believe you are in demand, you can just figure out the solution. You know, the problem solving is just, how do I open the doors? How do I invite people in? That's the only challenge. How to just like let people know that you are open and you're ready for business, and tell them really, really clearly how they can work with you and how they can pay you. So if your work is in demand, your offer is in demand, the answers to your problems changes. It changes from the problem solving changes from why can't I have this, or to, in order to get this, I need to figure out how to serve more people without spending more time. I need to figure out how to get people in efficiently so it doesn't take up all my time. So when you spend your time thinking from this place of I am in demand, the problem solving becomes, how do I serve the maximum amount of people that I have the personal resources for? How do I serve them quickly and effectively? What would be different about how you spend your time at work if, instead of focusing on how do I get people to pay me, and focusing on what is like difficult and confusing about marketing and growing your business, and instead of focusing on what is difficult and confusing, instead just focus on, how do I open the doors to the people who want to buy from me right now? Oh, the people who are lined up to work with you, they want to work with you and they're willing to wait, you know? If you can only serve 3 clients in January, that's awesome. The rest of them will wait. I'm just going to catch up on the chats here. Your brain is always going to be an asshole, Megan. It's just its job, okay? And you can, like, this takes discipline, okay? Discipline gets a bad rap. Discipline is like what is going to get you there, and being like, brain, thank you for that absolute bullshit that you are like, that's making me feel awful and is not going to help us achieve anything that we want to get. However, I want to be success. I believe that you do too. So we are just not going to entertain that. What if the opposite were true? This is a mistake that we all make all the time, right? Our brain gives us some bullshit random thought and we go, oh yeah, I'll believe that. That sounds true. That sounds true. I'll hold on to that and believe it forever. Right? Instead of being like, wait, hold on. There are thousands of alternatives to that bullshit, painful, unhelpful thought that just like came up from nowhere in my brain. So you can choose what you believe. You can choose what you believe. It does take discipline. Robin says, I honestly find myself having to stop myself from telling people who have sought me out that I am not actually who they really want. I know, it's so cute. It's adorable, the lengths that we will go to not be in demand. And it's very, very understandable. I hope you booked out 2 hours. I set this session for 2 hours because I know it's going to take, I don't think it's going to go the full 2 hours, but we are going to do a shadow exploration of like this, like being in demand, this being consumed thing, because that's real. That's very, very real. Yes, I see how my fallback beliefs have made it easier to abandon my business. Exactly. If you choose to keep believing the bullshit, painful, unhelpful thoughts your brain gives you, you will abandon your business. That's the end. You will. In order to grow your business and be successful, you have to deliberately choose alternate beliefs. Okay. Let's have some other. So here's some objections that come up quite often. What if I can't meet everybody's expectations? What if I'm just not good enough? Okay. So if you imagine the line at your door, if you can't let everybody in at once, and I strongly recommend that you don't let everybody in at once, but that people will go elsewhere. Okay. So, but again, the line is for you as you are now, not a different you, not a you who has more experience at copywriting and marketing, not a you who has like more time to give to everybody. You right now, they are there for you right now, not for a different coach or different healer or a different service provider. They are there for you. And even if they do go and work with somebody else, they will come back for you because they want to work with you. The medicine you hold is the medicine they need and they want. Okay. If you're thinking, I'm not positive enough, I'm not confident enough, I'm not glamorous enough, I'm not slick enough, you can open the doors while you are in pain. You can open the doors while you are afraid. Whatever you want to talk about, your audience wants to hear. People want to work with you as you are now. And as you are now, you are equipped to meet their needs. When I am in pain, people still want to work with me. When I am scared, people still want to work with me. Why? Because I can talk to them about being in pain and doing the work. I can talk to them about being scared and showing up anyway. If I'm uncertain, people still want to work with me because I can talk to them about uncertainty. Okay? People want to work with me as I am now, and people want to work with you as you are now, okay? So here's another one that comes up a lot, is that I believe people would benefit from my work. I don't believe they want to work with me, or I don't believe they're in line to work with me, okay? So there isn't a line, there isn't a queue of people, and they don't want to buy from me. So if you believe that there's not a line and they don't want to buy from you, then every time you like post on social media or send them an email, you're trying to tell them why they should want to work with you. You're telling them that they should join a line. And here's all of the reasons why they should want to work with you. But no, that convincing energy is like, here's why you should want to work with me. And if you encounter objections, like people say they can't afford to work with you, if you believe there is demand, how are you going to respond to that? So if we're on a sales call and you say, I'd love to work with you, but I just can't afford it at this time, how will I respond differently depending on whether I believe there is not demand or if there is demand for my work? Like if you say you can't afford to work with me and I believe there's no demand for my work, I'm going to feel really desperate. I'm going to want to try to convince you. I may not feel confident to try to convince you, but I'll get off the call feeling like, oh, shit. That was like, I really, really needed that sale. Whereas if I'm really confident in the demand, that there's a lot of demand for my work, and you say, I'm sorry, Anna, I just can't afford to pay you that, then my response is more curious. It's like, Do you not see the value? Or I might say, well, I can definitely relate to financial scarcity, and, money is real and constriction is real. Maybe this is something you can budget for in the future. You see the difference in the energy? It's just like, it's lighthearted, it's playful. It doesn't matter if this person signs up, because, well, for two reasons. One is because there's somebody behind them who will sign up, and even if, that person B will sign up, even if person A doesn't. But also, person A is extremely likely to come back around and pay me in future. That happens all the time. You get a no, but a no is very, very rarely a no forever. It's usually a no, not right now. And you just go back to that person in a couple of months and say, hey, how's that working out for you, that decision not to work with me? And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's a yes. So every interaction in every scenario changes when you believe there is demand for your work, okay? And it just doesn't make sense to choose to believe that there is not, okay? So whenever it comes up, you think what happens is you believe you are reporting reality. You believe that you are observing a real set of circumstances and that you are creating a true interpretation of those circumstances, okay? But regardless of what the circumstances are, one is that you can't assume that you understand what your future results will be based on the past, but also it's just plain unhelpful to believe that there is no demand for your work. It just makes everything more difficult. So for those of you who have an audience of, say, 200 people plus, do you believe that there are let's say 10 people? For those of you who have an audience of 300 people plus, do you believe there are 10 people right now who would be willing, who want to pay you, who want to work with you, without you having to email them to convince them of why? You can just say, did you know this opportunity is available? It's amazing. Here's why. Okay, so a little story time. The first live workshop, the first one of these I ever did, was on sigil magic. And I am so, so grateful to my former self, my past self, me of 2 years ago, because I was so convinced there would be so much demand for this workshop. I knew that it was going to be fun. I knew that it was going to be interesting. I knew it was going to be effective. So I felt no way at all about DMing every single one of my followers on Instagram. There was only maybe 200 people on Instagram following me, so I could easily DM them all, just copy and pasting a message. And it felt like I was just inviting them to a party. That's literally what I was doing. It was New Year's Eve. So it was I am having a party. It's going to be amazing. Of course, everybody would want to come. And just like inviting to a party, if somebody says no, it's okay, cool. There's loads of other people coming. Hope you have a good time doing whatever else it is that you're doing. And, come back to me if you change your mind. But because of that, I felt totally fine messaging, direct messaging, cold messaging my entire network and inviting them to come along. Okay. That's how I want you to think of your work. Your work is a party. And I don't know how well this archetype translates, but for us Gen Xers who used to go nightclubbing, it's been so long since I've been to a nightclub, but there would be there's the velvet rope, and then there's security, the big guys. And then there's the girl with the clipboard, the girl who has the list, okay? And she's you can come in, and you can come in, and you can come in. And that's you, okay? So you're not going to be one of these snotty girls who makes people feel badly about not coming in, because you have the most amazing party going on up here. So you just want to be nice to the people and say, are you ready to come in yet? No? Okay, cool. You come in instead, okay? And it's such a good party. You don't need to convince anybody. They already know how lit it is in there. Because every time you believe there are no clients and nobody wants this, it's too hard, it's too confusing, that makes you feel shitty, right? And then you take a bunch of actions with this shitty outlook, or you don't take any actions because you're feeling so shitty about it. And because you are choosing to consistently believe that the clients aren't there, you're not purposeful, you're reactive, you're indecisive, and you are perpetuating the reality that the clients are not there, okay? If you want to change your business, the first thing to change is the way you're thinking about your audience. Woo! I would like you all to post in the Facebook group and tell me what statement or belief you are going to like try on, what you're going to set reminders for like 15 times a day for the next 3 days and see what changes. How are you going to remember to think this like regularly, 15 times a day? Just let that thought be in your head. Anytime your mind is blank, or anytime you go, oh, this is so crap, I've got no clients, I've made no money, I can't do this, just instead think, whoa, brain, that's not helpful. There is a lot of demand for my work. We just have to figure out how to open the door. We're just problem solving here. Just problem solving. Okay? Can you all see how this gets you into a productive cycle? You won't be there all the time. You won't be there all the time. Of course, you're going to get into procrastination. You're going to get into fear. You're going to get into doubt. Of course you are. You just get back in it. That's all. As soon as you realize that you've come out and you're in this place of there's no demand. I mean, we've all been there. I've been there, waking up in sweats of anxiety every night. How are we going to make money? How are we going to pay the mortgage? How are we going to buy groceries? Who's going to, like, are me and my husband not going to eat this week so that the kids can? I have been there trying to, like, how do I make this work? How do I make people understand why this work is so important? How am I going to find them? How am I going to get the clients? Find something better to say to yourself while you're working. Find something better to say to yourself while you are working. So find something useful and motivating to say to yourself, even if your logical brain is saying to you, you are deluded, this is ridiculous, you are not seeing reality. Fuck reality. Think of something more useful. Think of something useful and motivating instead. Okay? How much money are you making right now? If you can make that much money without, again, I'm talking to the people who have an established business. If you can make that much money, if you can make £20,000 in a year without believing that there is demand for your work, how much do you think you're going to be able to make when you act from the truth that you are in demand? Right? Like, you are just at the beginning of this business journey. You are totally going to make £100,000 this year. Do you realize that? If you made £20,000 last year, you are totally going to make $100,000 this year. It's just facts. When you believe in the demand in your work, you can look at your mailing list and go, okay, if I have 200 people on my mailing list, I know for a fact that means that there are 1,000 people just there who are waiting to join. If I recruit 3 people to my group program, I know for a fact that there are another 10 who I just didn't quite speak loud enough to, who just didn't quite get the message. Okay, everybody's distracted, everybody's busy. It doesn't mean they don't want my work. It just means I didn't like articulate it to them clearly enough, loudly enough times. If you made 20,000, you can definitely make 100,000. That is a small step in business terms. And again, to go right back to the beginning, that's only £4,000 a month. You should definitely set your sights higher than 100,000. Definitely. If you want to live, if you want luxury and financial freedom, you're going to need to set your financial goals a lot higher than what you think. Okay. When things are going wrong, find a way to think the thoughts that feel good while you figure it out. Okay. I have so many more notes that I could talk through on this, but what I'm going to do now is talk about managing demand. I'm going to talk about some of those, marketing tactics that feel really gross and really misaligned when we are not believing when we don't believe there is demand for your work, okay? When you do believe there is demand for your work, when there is demand for your work, when you are embodying the energy of being in demand, these tactics just make sense, okay? That's why the mindset bit is so important, because these marketing tips and tricks, they can feel manipulative. Maybe they are manipulative. I'm not here to make a moral judgment on what marketing tactics you do or don't use. But what I do know is that when you don't feel in demand, then saying something like, I'm opening a waiting list because I can only work with 3 people, it just feels bogus. It feels awkward. It feels gross. It feels dishonest. It feels wrong. But when you do believe you're in demand, it's just like, well, of course I'm going to have a waiting list so that I know who to speak to first. I want to know who's at the front of the queue. Okay. Whew. So the first thing I want you to know is that almost all of you, I guarantee it, are writing way too much copy, way too much copy. I can almost look at anybody's emails and make a judgment on, make a call on how much they do or do not believe their work is in demand. Okay, it's really easy to get into like convincing and over explaining. Whereas if you know that you are in demand, you will just like let people know really easily and in a straightforward way how they can pay you, how to get to the front of the line, and how to get in the door, and how to come to the party. Okay? So that means, right, keeping your emails incredibly short and giving incredibly straightforward instructions to the people who are ready to buy now. I am sure you've heard this marketing truism, maxim, which is talk to the people who are ready to buy now. Okay, so that means as you sit down to write, or whatever your work tasks are for today, but we're talking about writing specifically, you need to do whatever it takes to generate that feeling of being in demand. Like, I know there are 5 people who want what I am selling today. They are in my audience. I know they are in my audience because my audience are my audience because they want to work with me. Nobody is on my email list because they just want to keep hearing from me. People are on my email list because they want to work with me, whether it's now or it's in the future. And it's the same for you, okay? It's exactly the same for you. People are in your audience because they are interested in working with you. Just like I said about sales calls. People get on a sales call because they want to work with you. Nobody gets on a sales call to reject you. They want to work with you. And the next point I want to make about marketing is that the point of marketing is to create demand. That is the whole point of marketing. So if you are regular, like some of you are not marketing regularly, you're just like, I'm not going there because there's no demand and I don't know how to create it. But if you are marketing regularly and you are not seeing your demand increase, definitely start with your beliefs. And as I say, we're going to do the shadow work on this in like just a few minutes, 10 minutes. So here are the notes I want you to make. Yes, Natalie said, on your advice, Anna, I shortened my emails to 3 to 5 sentences and I enrolled 3 clients and I got so much response. I now know I am in demand. Yes, when you write an email that is 3 to 5 sentences or even 9 words, there's a famous 9-word email, of course, you are signaling to your audience that you're in demand. You don't have to explain. You don't have to convince. You don't have to coerce. Just tell them, here's how you get to the front of the queue. Pay me. Okay, so the point of marketing is creating demand. If you're not seeing demand increase, start with your beliefs. Here are the notes I want you to make. 1, signal to your audience, that you are open for business, and show them that you understand what they're dealing with. Okay. If you're going to do any like longer copy, I want it to be that you are describing to your audience exactly what they're going through or what they're facing, so that they recognize themselves in what you're saying. If your audience don't recognize that you are talking to them, then your marketing is just like going to go over their head. Like, they don't know that you're talking to them. Your audience need to know that you are talking to them. So when you describe what they are going through very specifically and with a lot of insight, which you can do because you're an expert, then they will recognize themselves in what you're saying, and that causes their ears to prick up and they go, oh, this person's saying something I should pay attention to. Next, use incredibly plain, straightforward language to explain your solution, like how you help people. And then make people feel excited about what they can expect from working with you, the results they're going to see, how they're going to be different after they worked with you than before. So paint a picture of what will be different after they've worked with you. Now, here's where it gets gross and icky. Scarcity. We've all heard about scarcity marketing tactics. It sounds gross. Nobody likes, especially us magical, empathic, intuitive people. Nobody likes leaning on pain points, but basic human psychology is that people procrastinate. Can we relate to that? I definitely procrastinate. People procrastinate and people delay on making decisions. So people will not generally, of course there will be some, but most people won't take action without some sense of urgency. So those three, that urgency can be, I have 3 spots to work with people one-to-one. It could be the group program is starting next week. It could be, I can only work with one person at this depth, and then my books are closed again until April. So when you believe, when you know how much demand there is for your business, you are able to talk about how many people you are actually able to serve, so that the people who want to be at the front of the queue, so the people who want to work with you right now, who are in your audience, they can say, oh, hey, I'm going to come in now. I don't want to wait. So let them know, I have 3 spots available. We're starting next week. It's £1,000. Are you in? So the next piece of human psychology we want to talk about is the the group psychology. For the love of God, use your social proof. If you are just starting out, make it a priority to get that social proof, get those incredible testimonials, over deliver, collect those testimonials and use them to create more demand. We are social animals and we look to other people's experiences in order to gauge what we feel we are likely to experience as well. Okay. If you don't believe your work is in demand, you're quite likely to think that those clients who get incredible results are a fluke. But if you do believe that you are in demand, you will feel very, very happy about using those recommendations like widely and over again, because you know there are a lot of the same kind of people in your audience. And if you can achieve that for one of your clients, you can achieve it for, tens, 20s, hundreds of them. The other marketing tactic that people tend to shy away from is creating exclusivity. Rightly and beautifully, we live in a society that is much more about inclusion. And that's a wonderful thing. For your client list, set up that waiting list. Decide how many people you want to work with and tell your audience about it. Say, I can work with 3 people. So I'm setting up a waiting list and I will send them the details first. If, again, this is something that feels gross, if you believe there is no demand for your work, why would you set up a waiting list if you don't believe there's any demand for your work? That's just like inviting more pain on top of pain, right? If you know there is demand for your work, then setting up a waiting list is just a sensible way of managing your customers. Okay? We are manifesting demand by acting as if the demand were already there. And then guess what? It comes. So stuff like waiting lists, stuff like exclusivity, so that only a few people can access it, teasing out a few details of your offer to create more excitement in the people who want to work with you. All of these things feel horrible, and you're likely to just not do them if you don't believe that your work is in demand. Of course they feel horrible. Of course they feel horrible. But if you do believe your demand, it feels dishonest, it feels manipulative. But if you do believe you're in demand, if you know you're in demand, then you can see, can't you? Please let me know that you can see this, that it feels totally fine, completely reasonable and aligned to say, hey, I just wanted to let you know, I only have capacity for 2 one-to-one clients next month. It's $5,000 per spot. Do you want one of those spots? That is not manipulative. That is very clean energy. It is very clean. Nobody is being manipulated by that. Please let me know that you can see that. So in a few minutes, we're going to do, I'm going to slow down the pace a little bit. And we are going to do some existential kink on the very real part of you that does not want to be in demand. But first, you knew this was coming. I am launching a high-level group for these people who are scaling. You can apply now. It's not quite now because I haven't quite written up all the details. There are only a few spots left. 6 spots are taken already. And if you want to get £2,000 off of the investment, you will need to be on the waiting list, as they are going to get the details first. Send me a message now, or go over to Facebook and send me a message, and I will get you the link so that you can be the first to get the details, and it will go to my list after that. So in this group, we are going to do this work for 6 months. Okay, we're going to do this for 6 months. We are going to create more and more demand for your work. You're going to come to understand yourself as an authority in your niche. And we are going to set up a truly scalable offer so that you can recruit clients consistently every single month. And we're going to be selling it with, well, I will give you strategies. I will give you my strategies, what I did. So selling it with video, scripting, messaging, and doing it all with that underlying idea that your success is guaranteed. It's guaranteed. You're going to make £100,000 in 2023. If you have an audience, if you have proof of concept, the only thing between you and that money is you. So if you're not there yet, if you're not at that scaling point yet, I want to remind you about Paid. Paid is the foundational program. If you haven't made that 20 to 30K in your business yet, you are not ready for Dare. You're not ready for scaling. We need to understand your offer, your audience, and your messaging first. Okay. Again, you can message me for these. Just tell me what stage you're at, and I'll point you towards the right information. You create demand by showing up as someone who is in demand. It works that way round. You can't create demand first and then show up like someone who's in demand later. You can't create demand by believing there is no demand. Yes, you are going to have to do a lot of work in your business, and you'll be doing work for your future clients as well. But there are clients right now, today, in your audience who are ready to pay you, who want to pay you, who want to hear about your work. And you don't need to wait to take their money. You can open the door right now. You can open the door to them right now. The people who are thinking about working with you right now, how do you show up if you know you're in demand? Are you going to waitlist them? Are you just going to move on to the next person who's ready to buy? If you have 1 spot and 6 people asking for it, how would you show up? When you know you're in demand, you take your time seriously. You spend 20 minutes writing an email instead of an hour. all of that time that you spend in indecision and procrastination and all of the fatigue that goes along with that can just disappear instantly today. And what's left is a clear mind, strategic thoughts, and high quality output. You're left feeling inspired, motivated, joyful, courageous, productive, purposeful. Highly recommend choosing your thoughts deliberately. Okay. Whew. Send me those messages. Send it here or send it on Facebook and message me there. Or like, you're on my list, so reply to any of those emails. Tell me what stage you're at, and I'll send you the details of the program that is right for you. Now, we're going to get into the shadow. Let's look at some of the thoughts that will definitely hijack your progress with this. Like, I don't want people making demands on me. I don't want more demands on my time or my energy. I don't want change. Change is always scary because we don't know exactly how we will have to change in order to accommodate the change in our circumstances. And as I've said before, when you start working with more clients, yes, people are going to want more of your time and energy. Yes, you will have unreasonable clients. And yes, that means you will need to put in place some firm boundaries about what you will and won't do. And that is uncomfortable. The question is, are you going to let your future be defined by those fears or not? So let's do a little existential kink on demand. Please switch your cameras off if you feel more comfortable doing so. Please make sure that your microphone is off. This meditation is fairly intense. So if you're like really struggling with depression or anxiety or self-destructive thoughts, then maybe sit this one out, and you could come back to us in 15 minutes. So get comfortable. Get comfortable, relax, allow your gaze to soften and your eyes to gently close. And let your attention snap to your breath and paying attention to how your torso moves as you breathe. Let your shoulder blades slide down your back. Notice how the air is cool as it flows in through your nose and warm as it flows out. Breathing very, very naturally, just as your body wants to. Let the muscles of your jaw relax, your brow, your hairline, your scalp, the base of your skull. And I'd like you to take 3 slightly deeper breaths now. And on the end of the 3rd exhalation, just step over that threshold into a state of meditation. Your limbs are heavy, like they're weighted with sandbags. And your mind can just gratefully take a step back out of the spotlight. Just let your mind rest for a minute. But notice how your heart is open and alert and curious. And all of those thoughts that your brain keeps offering you, You can just allow them to recede from your consciousness. It's just like a background tape that you can pay no attention to. And I would like for you to feel the gravity, the Earth's gravity has been turned up, and it is draining all of your fears, your sadness, your trauma, all your grief, stress, tension, regret, worry. It's all just draining out of you like water through a sieve straight into the earth. Just disappears underground instantly. So observe your heart at the center of the space that is left. Very peaceful, very calm. Very quiet joy radiating from your heart center. And the more that grows, the more you realize you can hardly remember what sadness even feels like. And this state of peace and calm and love and joy is a godlike state. This is what it's like to be a deity. This is what it feels like to be a being who can create any reality in any timeline, who can create any future outcome or even rewrite the past. In this state, you exist in all dimensions. You can have, be, or do anything you can conceive of. All wisdom is yours. There is nothing you cannot create or destroy. Your heart exists outside of time and space. Mortals leave offerings at altars to you to win your favor. And you smile at their devotions. And the altars weighed down with fruits and flowers and incense and candles that are kept burning day and night. Now, in this state of sublime creativity and power, can you just allow yourself to imagine that it might be fun to play with a feeling of having huge demands placed on you, just as a game, just to see what it feels like. Because you really don't know what it feels like. So this is an exercise in curiosity. So let's explore what it means to have demands placed on you. So bring that feeling to the forefront of your consciousness now. What it feels like to be in that situation. Where there are people, maybe one, maybe multiple people, who want to take from you more than you are prepared to give. Notice what feelings are provoked in your body when you imagine people taking from you, people taking your time, people taking your energy. People taking more than you agreed to. You can do this very safely because you are a powerful being who exists in a state of perpetual creative bliss. This is just a game you've decided to play. So even if this feeling of people wanting to take too much from you, even if that makes you want to push your emotions and physical sensations away, this is typically how we respond to bad feelings, things we don't want. For the next few minutes, just imagine that you created this situation for fun, out of curiosity, just for the sheer fun of the experience, and that you not only consent to it, but you deeply and unreasonably approve of it. So just allow and observe these emotions as they move and manifest through your body. It might feel fearful that you will be left with nothing. It might feel as though you want to reject those people. You might feel as though you're being torn apart. You might feel as though there will be nothing left of you. Whatever the feelings are, just allow them to come up and be felt. Whatever sensations come up, just allow them to come up and be felt. Just keep breathing, keep relaxing. Don't analyze, just observe. Observe how your body responds and how these feelings move through you, and how you can still be safe, even as you're being torn apart. You can still be safe because you are under the compassionate, benevolent gaze of a divinely peaceful and loving deity who adores every part of every emotion, especially the ones that your conscious mind wants to protect you from. And now just gently and curiously ask yourself, can I allow any pleasure from these sensations? Could these sensations be part of a kinky game? Is there any way that I could enjoy being tenderly tortured or torn apart? Could I enjoy being helpless? Could I enjoy being consumed by an irresistibly hot lover or lovers? If you feel any tension or discomfort coming up, just focus your breath for a moment on that area. Direct your breath into the tension and allow it to melt away. And just surrender. Surrender to being consumed. Surrender to being devoured. Can you notice how differently your emotions and physical sensations can be experienced when you allow them, consent to them, and approve of them? Can you notice how you can turn feelings that you do not want into a playful game in this erotic entanglement with your incarnation as a human? Can you maybe concede that some hidden part of you actually enjoys this intensity? Are you able to not judge yourself for delighting in these sensations? You are allowed to enjoy this strange experience of surrender, to situations that your conscious mind insists you must not have. This dark and kinky part of you is allowed to want to experience this feeling, even if your brain doesn't approve of it, and even if your brain says it's bad and wrong. Your mind only wants good things for you. It only wants happiness and freedom and independence. But your shadow wants everything. Your shadow sees the sublime beauty in the terrible situations, in being in demand, in being spread too thin, in being consumed. It sees the beauty in pain, in conflict, in terror, in chaos. And the more you try to push it down, the more it will seek that beauty out. So I invite you now to extend your deepest love, respect, and approval to your shadow, who actually really wants all of these things that your brain says you must not have. Acknowledge how skilled and awesome your unconscious is at manifesting these situations that create intense emotion and intense sensation. Acknowledge your shadow's right to receive and enjoy pleasure, even if it's a pleasure that your brain doesn't want. You don't have to understand why your shadow wants these things. You can support her anyway. Thank you so much for your courage in undertaking this exercise. I'm going to count backwards from 10 to 1. And as I do so, with each number, you will integrate your experience today, and you will become gradually more alert and awake and refreshed. But hold on to that gratitude in your heart for your shadow and for the naughty, playful awareness of her idea of fun. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let your eyes flutter open. You are awake and relaxed. Please let me know that you're here. Thank you, everybody. So to conclude, if you're still on this call after nearly 2 days, 2 hours, sorry, it felt like 2 days, 2 hours, and you haven't logged off, then I am going to hazard a guess that you want to make money and you want to work with me. So should you join now or should you wait? Well, do you want to make money now or do you want to wait? You're going to make your money back. If you've invested in programs in the past and felt like it didn't work out, just pick these thoughts. Don't let yourself regret it. What if the opposite were true? Don't say that to yourself. You are on a journey of entrepreneurship and making money, losing money, learning. That is all part of it. There is no investment that is a waste. We've talked for 2 hours about choosing thoughts. You can choose the thought that you always get exactly what you need from any investment. You will never be able to spend every single pound or penny well. This is what happens in business. It's only a problem if you decide to believe it's a problem. And it's only a problem for as long as you allow it to be a problem. You were brave, you made a decision, you learned from it, move on. And dare is going to be huge for you. If you're already making money in your business, a £5,000 investment to make £100,000, that's a ridiculous price. That is an insane investment. And it's literally only at this price because this is the first time I'm offering the program. So if you have questions, let me know. You can message me. You can email me. You all know how to reach me. I can answer all of your questions, let you know whatever you need to know. But if you know that I'm the person that you want to work with on this, let's fucking go. Let's go. Thank you so much for being here with me today, first day of 2023. It's been an absolute pleasure to see your beautiful faces here with me. And yeah, hit me up, let me know. Thank you all so very much. I'll see you very soon.